Jim, you like the Philadelphia 76ers here at home. Why are you backing Joel Embiid and the Sixers versus the Lakers?
Yeah, so the main point for me is this. I think this line is just too short, and I think it'll be really fun to go back and forth with you on that. But I also will say Embiid really hasn't had much of a problem with AD in his career. Last 3 games, which is basically all that they've faced off in the last 2+ seasons now, he's averaging 39-5, basically on over 50% from the floor. He's plus 49 in the 119 minutes of those 3 games he's played. All 3 have been Sixers wins. He really hasn't had much of an issue, and I really just think the Sixers team is a lot better than this Lakers team right now. I have this number around Sixers minus 7.5. If you look at adjusted net rating, Sixers, they're the second best team in the league right now. Now they haven't looked quite as good in the last 2 weeks. Lakers have looked a little bit better in the last 2 weeks, but for the season as a whole, the Lakers, they may have that 10-7 record, but there's not really a nice win on that. I kind of want to go through this with you because I saw your tweet about how high you are on the Lakers. I don't see a good win on there. I think this Lakers team's a little overrated at 10-7. I have them at about a league average team right now, whereas the Sixers team, I'm a much bigger believer in. So yeah, tell me why you think the Lakers are semi-real here.
Okay, so a lot of this is like I tweeted about them based off of power ratings, right? Which is just like where my numbers spitting out. Now, my numbers do account for strength of schedule. It just takes basically a base adjustment driven off of dunks and threes because I will pretty much find any excuse to use that site's data and then adjust for that slightly. So I will start this by saying your cap is sound. Okay, your cap is sound here in that basically the Lakers numbers are okay because they've played a bunch of shit, and anytime that they've played anybody good, they've been pretty much trash, with the exception of Saturday night's win versus Cleveland. Like that was legitimately their best win of the season versus a Cavs team that's only 500 on the season right now and can't get their shit together. And it was
and Garland missed the second half.
And Garland missed the second half, right? So from that perspective, yes, I think one of the reasons I like this is tied in with the over, which is the Philadelphia 76ers are 23rd in defense, non-garbage time, the last 2 weeks. The defense has fallen off a cliff. If they're going to be this offense-only team, I think, honestly, they're like, it's not necessarily that I think that the Lakers have more firepower, but I do think that leans a little bit to Lakers on the spread. It's funny because you're like, I don't think this is enough points, and you've got a 7.5, and I think it's too many points because I've got this like Sixers -1 at most, right? And this is mostly, if we're really going to talk about this, it's basically you've got it projected 7, I've got it projected 1, and so I'm on the Lakers and you're on the Sixers, and then they'll win by like 6, and I will be like, fine. But it's fine. I'll also say this, that like I think one of the components here is largely that when I've watched the Sixers, I've been kind of like, like their momentum. And I think a lot of this too is they had such a burst out of the gate and the vibes were really good and they were really awesome. And Batum had like a plus 25 net rating for a while. And like we're starting to see a little bit of a slide. Now, on the flip side of this, I will say another thing that makes me not necessarily thrilled to be on this side against you is the injury report. Because the Lakers, I can't believe I'm about to say this, the Lakers are going to miss Cam Reddish. They're really going to, like, Cam Reddish is questionable in this one. LeBron's also questionable, but I think he probably plays. They're going to miss Cam in this one. He's actually played really well for them. But Max Christie's been in the rotation. That's given them a defensive boost. If you ask me which is the better defensive team between these two squads, I'm actually going to tell you that it's the Lakers. And I think I don't think that's crazy. Now, again, another reason to kind of like go your direction is how do you attack the Sixers? Well, you put them in pick and roll and you hurt the fact that Embiid's going to drop. The Lakers don't have necessarily guards to do that. Do you want D'Angelo Russell shooting that much? Probably not, but I think this is probably maybe a better spot for Austin Reeves. I like some of the staggered lineups in particular. Darvin Ham switched up things and now has LeBron running with Austin Reeves in that second unit as it should be, because if you put Anthony Davis and ask him to hold up a lineup, he collapses like a piece of toilet paper trying to hold up a house. Like, it's not good. So if you have LeBron and Reeves holding it up, I think that's a lot better. That said, I'll let you respond to any of those points. But in general, like, I think there's like two sides of this.
I think you're right. I think it is kind of a pivot game for me for the Lakers and how I view them. because they have had this recent success. A lot of it has been at home. A lot of it has been against lesser opponents, but there have been structural changes, like you say, especially those changes to when Reeves is getting his minutes. I do think there could be something there. To me, this is like, I want to see it before I bet it kind of deal. And I even adjusted this Sixers number for me a little bit based on the last 2 weeks, which way each team is trending. So I'll stick with my side. It does, you never want to be hear another prognosticator out there on the other side of things. So, maybe take it down like a tiny bit, but I still think I want to see the Lakers do it against a good opponent in Philly, who even though their defense has slipped, and I think they're a solid matchup for the Lakers, to be honest. Like you talked about briefly, like, maybe this is not the team that's going to shred the Sixers defense, and talking about how Embiid has done against Anthony Davis. So I definitely think this is kind of a choose your own adventure game for sure, and a little bit of a pivot point for how I'm going to see the Lakers and potentially the Sixers as well, based on which way these two teams are trending heading into the game.
I've also got Lakers Sixers over 231.5. I project this at 239, so I'm good with any number up to 240. The Sixers games this season, they're 10-6 to the over, which is a little bit surprising. Again, it kind of is reflective of, the early season defense might be kind of clouding who the identity of this team, which is that it's probably a little more giving maybe than we kind of initially thought. Like, they have some defenders, but also bear in mind they did lose PJ Tucker, and PJ Tucker has looked a little washed with the Clippers, but that's still a plus defender that they gave up. Now, Roko's played really well, but it's only limited minutes. And so that's why I think that there's probably a little bit of value on the over here. And I also think that either way, if Jim's right, then it's probably that the Sixers handle the Lakers and are able to put up a pretty big number on them. And if the Lakers win, I think is that they're able to get some traction versus the Sixers defense. Maybe it turns into a slugfest, but I'm willing to bet it's not. I'll take the 231.5 on the over. Joe, you get the last bet on this game, and that's the Anthony Melton over 13.5 points. What's your cap on that one?
So ever since Kelly Oubre's been out, he's kind of seen an uptick in not only his usage, but really the way that he's being asked to score the basketball. And he's taking a lot more threes, which is a shot the Lakers have defended pretty well, but they've also allowed a lot of three-pointers so far. And they're allowing, it's the bottom 10 in terms of how many threes and the frequency that they're allowing. So that's a shot that we know that Melton can kind of get up. Also, the Lakers have kind of allowed shooting guards to have bigger games against them. They don't have the best perimeter defense or like point of attack defense out on the perimeter there. Like you're dealing with D'Angelo Russell, you're dealing with Austin Reeves. And Melton, he's hit this line in 6 of 8 games without Kelly Oubre. A lot of the games are like right around where we are here. But part of why I like this spot against the Lakers is the Lakers play at the 9th fastest pace in the league. So it's a little bit of a pace up spot for Philadelphia, a team that generally plays a bit slower. And he's getting enough 3-pointers up, and he's a good 3-point shooter. Over the past couple of games without Kelly Oubre, over these last 8 games, actually, he's shooting 46.8% from 3-point range. And he's seeing a 17.3% usage, which obviously it doesn't sound like the highest amount of usage, but given what his role is in the offense and given what the Lakers kind of allow, he's going to be a guy that they're not necessarily, I think, all that concerned about. They're going to be looking at Maxey. They're going to be looking at Embiid. And a guy like Melton can kind of get his shots up and, maintain his contributions across the board.
Okay. I have nothing to give because your prop plays are pretty much beyond reproach at any point. I'm not going to be able to say shit because your props have been ridiculous lately.